Hi everyone, and welcome to, or first of all, let's just mute everyone first. Can I just get you all to jump onto your screens and mute yourselves first, please? And I know that I can do it myself. Hang on, mute all. All right, I'm done. I'm muting you all from my end, so all good. Continue. Mute all. Allow participants to unmute themselves. No. Continue. All right. Move that back up. Get rid of that. All right. Cool. Ready to go. Thanks for joining us today. We are talking about placements, in particular with regard to the wholesale customer option, but also just placements from the basics. When you're first starting out and starting to enroll some people, where to put the people in your tree, how to maximise your commissions and uni level pay, how to tap into the power of three, and how it all works and what it all means. So Stacey's joining us today. Thank you, Stacey. Because Stacey's been learning a lot about the wholesale customer stuff and going to all the trainings that that Michelina's been doing and watching webinars and whatnot. So Stacey's a full bottle on all of that jazz, because I'm just kind of getting my head around it myself. All right, we'll start with just the basics of some placement stuff, which comes down to like volume when you're going through the ranks. So when we all first start, we start off as a, is it consultant? The very, very first thing. Yeah. And that's just from placing your initial order. And then once you've got some volume in your tree, Kelly, is this backwards to you? You're good, because you're the only person I can see on my screen right now, Kel, so like you'll be my thumbs up girl. Mm-hmm. So if that's not backwards to you, that's all good, because it's backwards to me. So manager is 5,000 overall volume anywhere in the tree. 500. Sorry, thank you. 500. Pachung, brain mushy today. A director, a reflection from the window. Director is 1,000 volume anywhere in your tree. Executive 2,000 anywhere in your tree. Elite 3,000 anywhere in your tree. Then Premier starts coming into needing 2 executives. So when we do start placing people, I always encourage to start with 2 or 3 on the front line to try and help secure the power of 3 first level, which I'll talk about in a minute. But then we look at building the 2 legs underneath to start someone off on the road to Premier. So by the time their volume is reaching this 5,000 overall, they've got their 2 strong legs, the 2 executives with the 2,000 volume coming down from each of those legs. So by legs, we're talking about, you've got yourself, you have your people on your front line, and then we're growing underneath those people, and that's your legs. It doesn't need to be that the people on your front line are the people who are doing it all and growing it all and enrolling. Usually we start off the business by enrolling everyone ourselves, putting people underneath people, and then along the way we might find some sharers. But to have those people qualify for you as your 2 executives, you need to be the personal enroller of them, but they do not need to be on your front line. So you could have someone on your front line, someone underneath them that you place there, and then this person might be doing their LRPs and getting some volume cranking and building underneath them. So the qualifying people for that need to be your 2 executives don't need to be on your front line. They just need to be in separate legs, and you need to be the personal enroller of them. So if you've had a situation where your enroller above you has placed some people into your tree or onto your front line, and then you're reaching that stage of Premier where you've got 2 of those either front lines or somewhere in those legs, you've got 2 people ready to go executive, you need to hold the enrollership of them. So if your upline has placed someone on your front line, for example, and then you're ready to hit the rank of Premier, then your enroller can transfer the enrollership of that person over to you. So we just do a simple little enrollership transfer, and it's really easy through placements. But that's the criteria. So up to the elite level, it's volume anywhere in your tree, regardless of who enrolls who, it's just anywhere in your tree. But we start doing the placements from the beginning with getting those legs happening. And then once you're ready to hit Premier, your 2 executives need to be enrolled by you. So if you need to do an enrollment transfer, you can do that, it's no worries. And again, they don't need to be on your front line, just in those 2 separate legs. And then moving on from there, silver is 3 elites. Again, you need to be the enroller of them, but they can be in any position within those 3 separate legs, as long as you hold the enrollership for them. So one of my silvers, used to be about 3 levels down. And that was the person who was my qualifying silver for that leg. I enrolled her, so that was my qualifying person. For some other people who, I've placed people into their front lines and then they've reached Premier, so I've transferred the enrollership over to them so that they're the new enroller of those people. Gold, you've got your 3 Premiers. Platinum is 3 silvers. Diamond is 4 silvers. Blue Diamond is 5 golds. 5 golds. Presidential Diamond is 6 platinums. Yeah. So let's just aim for Diamond today, because that's a great little destination. So that's the gist of the basics of your volumes for placements. And then we'll just look at a little starting out kind of little placement situation while I rub out my board here with a tissue.
Put some lemon on that.
I should have put some lemon on it. It's just about all out now anyway. So that's why when we start enrolling people, if you're doing classes for your new team members and they're just starting out, I always look for the ideal people to go on the front line. So it could be just someone who's really, really keen and interested in the oils. It could be someone that is into natural health, someone that has a bit of a network, or it could just be your sister who just loves the oils, and that, your front line positions we refer to as your prime real estate. You want to have people on your front line who you're happy to work with, because you'll need to talk to them a lot and communicate with them a lot, but also people who love the oils and really want to use them and are committed to doing a 100 PV LRP each month. So we all first start out with just ourselves in the tree. And then above that is, your enroller and your enroller's enroller and all the rest of it. So we're all in this one great big tree with our lovely doTERRA busy. And then you might start by, you have a class or you help your team run a class and they have 3 people who enroll at the class. So they may go on the front line as 3 separate legs. Now, when you're enrolling people at a class, the first thing I look for are the connections. So if you've got sisters or a mum and a sister or an auntie and a niece or something like that, then we want to keep those people together. So you'd look for the person on the front who would be the most enthusiastic, the one that you could see that, would order regularly, that would love the oils, that would have a bit of a network, and then you'd place the other person underneath them and they know each other. So you've got that connection there. This one could be a completely separate person who doesn't know these people. This could be a friend from school, for example. This could be someone from work. So we try and kind of keep people grouped into little categories of how they know each other. I've got, a team where I've got some of my friends from work, my teachers. I've got a little group where I've got some of my family members, and then, other ones and bits and pieces on the sides. So we first of all look for the connections and always honour those connections, always keeping people together underneath each other, if they know each other, if they're family, if they want to be together. And then, so placing those, having those people on the front line, I try and get that first power of 3 level happening for people, because that's a $50 US bonus, which is about 65 Aussie. So if you have these 3 people on your front line and they're all committing to doing a 100 PV minimum LRP, loyalty rewards order, the combined volume of your front line, including you, equals 600 overall volume, then that's what gets you that first power of 3. Power of 3 level 1, which is $50 bonus US, about 65 Aussie. Now, if you happen to have another, couple of people on your front line that they've just been placed there and they perhaps aren't ordering regularly, but, 1 month they do a 50, 1 month this one's doing a 75 or whatever PV order, that all counts in the total to get to this 600. As long as you've got 3 of them doing 100 PV LRP, you might have a couple of others floating in there. You might have even had someone who's like, oh my goodness, love the oil so much, I'm doing a massive order this month. As long as the total of the front line, including yourself, is 600, you get that $50. And I really do encourage everyone to try and secure that little bonus to start with, because that's essentially half of your LRP paid for. It's such a great bonus. So I'll just rub these ones out so we can just focus on these 3. So let's say, you've got that happening. You put your 3 people there. They're really keen. You've done your follow-up. They're on LRP. They're ordering regularly, all going along beautifully. Now, one thing that you will need to do with your first few enrollments is enroll them as a wellness advocate. Because if you're trying to place people under, they must be a wellness advocate to be able to place people under. If we enroll them as a wholesale customer, we cannot put anyone underneath them to start with. So your first few people, when you're first starting out, do make sure when you're putting your enrollment through that you click the second option on the bottom, which is wellness advocate. Top option is wholesale customer, but we want wellness advocates just to start out with, all right? Once you've then got a bit of a team established and you've maybe got a couple of people here, someone here, maybe this person's got 3, really until you've got, I'd probably say at least 20 to 30-ish maybe on your tree. It would vary. I would be looking at enrolling everybody as a wellness advocate to start with, so that you've got options of where to place people under, because we cannot place people underneath a WC. The system won't allow it. So just with starting out, go the WA option. The WC wholesale customer option is there for people who perhaps might have another business or another network marketing business, or they are just adamant that they do not want anyone placed under them, or they cannot earn commissions for whatever reason. Then you can present the wholesale customer option to them as an option. But for me personally, I'm just running my classes as usual and talking about opening a wholesale account and enrolling everybody as a WA for now. There are some perks to enrolling as WCs down the track, and Stacey will talk more about that because she knows more about that side of things. So basics, basic gist of things: you enroll, prime real estate, find the people on your front line who you want to work with, who love the oils, who are committed to ordering each month. They don't need to be committed to doing any kind of sharing or business type stuff, because that may come later, it may not. They just need to love the oils and want to use them and want to order them each month and do a 100 PV order. And that's amazing. And that's a blessing and a gift right there in itself, because they're helping you with your business. They're helping you qualify for ranking and for getting through your legs and things. That all makes sense? Right.
We're getting the nod.
We're getting the nods, right. I might keep some people here so Stacey can kind of talk about, with the wholesale customer option and how that might work. All right, so that's the basic kind of tree to get you started. And then let's just say you have a larger tree and this is just a bit of a section of your tree maybe, and then we'll move on to some wholesale customer stuff. So I'll hold this, Stacey, if you want to have a chat now.
So with your structure too, when we are talking about enrolling people and going under, we want to try and stay within the top 7 levels. So don't place any of your personal enrolments lower than 7, and aim for about filling out level 4 as a nice big thick. So as you grow down, you get wider across, not just keep going down and down and down. So you want to keep your own personal enrolments. As you grow and your team are sharing with other people, it'll get deeper and deeper, but that's not your personal enrolments, because you can actually lose lots of uni-level commission in the long run if your personal enrolments are below level 7. So we want to keep them in that level and filling out 4, 5, and 6, getting that nice and big and fat, especially when you're first starting out, because if you place down onto level 7 and you're not hitting silver for a while, you're not going to get paid uni level commission once they've gone off of that 60 days fast start from them. So we want to try and get this structure going, but get it nice and fat down across here. So you're building and you've got so let's say these are your 2 executive legs here, and this person is your premier. And they've got all their volume down under here, so you've got 2,000 each on there. But they're not getting their power of 3. So they're doing all of this work, they've got their 2 legs, they're not getting power of 3. You enroll somebody not connected to anybody. It was just a random person online. You can enroll them as a wholesale customer, pop them on their front line, and then turn up as a little green man, they go on LRP, suddenly your Premier's getting that $65 bonus each month, the first level of Power 3. So you can use
you mean here?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it in one spot.
Should have had a green one.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Right, that's the WC one.
WC. So you can use the wholesale customer to fill up volume where you need it to help people get Power of 3, to help yourself get Power of 3 if needed. So because that's, if this person here has gone, look, I'm going to drop back my order, we just can't keep affording it, the 100 PB every month, and they've got 2 people on their front line who always regularly order, you can put a wholesale customer down in there to help fill that out. And then with the option with the wholesale customer, so enroll a wholesale customer, and within 9, if they can upgrade to a wellness advocate after 90 days, you can move them then anywhere in the tree. So you can say, this guy has been there for 90 days, woken up and gone, this is awesome, I want to share. And you're like, I knew it. I wish I'd put you up here to be my diamond leg. You're after 90 days, you're able to actually move them, which is awesome.
That's so amazing.
But before 90 days, if they upgrade, if they go, what's that button? And press it, which I've had people do already, they stay where they are. So still think about your structure when you're placing them, because you don't want to end up with your front line with a whole heap of little green guys on there who suddenly upgrade and then they're stuck there forever. So think about where you want to place them and where you want to structure them the same as you would a normal wellness advocate. Does that make sense? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So we've got that 90-day move there now. So it's about, and this is the time where it's a great time to reconnect with your team and reconnect with those people who, if you have an established team and you've noticed that you now have lots of little green bodies in your tree, now's the time to kind of reconnect with them and let them know, what that wholesale customer means, that, if they're really enjoying their oils, and you'll find that you've got some green people who are on LRP. You might even have some green people who are in circles. And that means they're doing 100 PV LRP, which, they'd be the perfect people to chat with and catch up with and say, this is the way our system's changed. And if you're loving your oils and you're really keen, I'd love to help you get some oils for free by hosting a class. And it might be worthwhile just giving it, a couple of months before we start doing this reaching out stuff, because we've got 90 days and it clicked over at the end of March. So it's beginning of July, we've got this option to click a button in people's back offices. They need to do it themselves, upgrade to a wellness advocate, and then we've got a 14-day sponsor move like we always do with our new enrollments. So if you've got someone who's really enthusiastic about their oils, ordering regularly on LRP, it may not even be that they're doing 100 PV LRP, they might just be doing an LRP, connecting with them, having a chat about hosting a class, getting some free oils, and then beginning of July, they can click that upgrade button, become a wellness advocate. You can move them somewhere else in your tree that might need some volume or, whatever, and then do a class for them, enroll their new people, place them underneath them, and help them get some oils for free, and that helps you. You've moved some volume around in your tree as well. So I'm loving that side of the wholesale customer option, that it's giving us some extra moves and it's giving us the chance to reach out to our customers and team who have been with us for a little while, who have been using their oils for a little while, because they have to be 6 months. What do we work it out to be?
Yes, either 6 months or 12 months in active.
Yeah.
And then they and with no body under them,
That's
they
right.
automatically turned into the little green guys.
Yeah. So if people in your tree have had no one placed under them at all, it was just them sitting there by themselves, and they've been there for 6 months. I'm pretty sure it was just 6 months, maybe 12. Yeah. They've all been changed to greenies. So that's all your wholesale customers. So when Kelly and I caught up on the weekend, we were having a look at Kelly's tree and looking at all the greenies, and I wrote down all the people who are green now in Kelly's tree who are my personal enrollments, and I'll be going through that list and catching up with them and just seeing how they're going with their oils. Can I help with anything? Do you want to come to a class? Do you want to host a class? Do you want to get some free stuff? And just really reconnecting with all of those people, because it was interesting for me, because I was like, oh, this person, oh, haven't chatted to her for a while, and oh, this one, oh, I'll have to give her, haven't spoken to her for a bit. And so it just kind of re-inspired me to reach out to these people as well and connect with them and chat. And a lot of the people on that list had just signed up and got their initial oils, and then I haven't really, I've done a little bit of follow-up with them, but they haven't come to classes or not on a substantial LRP. So there's a great opportunity there for me to go and, reconnect with them and follow up with them as well. What else we're talking about with wholesale customer?
Or something that's just gone.
And yeah, so then there's also a couple of placement move options. So another thing that you'll notice in your tree is, you might not even notice it, but if you have people who have been with you for more than 6 months, they have perhaps, haven't ordered in that time, and again, they're wishing to kind of get re-involved and order regularly. Or you might have someone that comes to you and says, oh my gosh, ordered oils from you a year ago, they have changed my life, I really want to come on board and do this business with you, but they might be down at like, your 7th or 8th level. Then if they've been inactive for 6 months or more, you have another option to do a sponsor change as well. And that's a really easy thing to do. It's just an email through to placements. So that's if someone's been inactive for 6 months or more, they can do a sponsor change. And if someone's been inactive as a customer for 90 days or more, they can upgrade to a wellness advocate and be moved then as well. And I might just take this little one to the side for a minute and give her a quick bit of boob, and Stacey might like just to...
So another thing with the wholesale customers, so let's just say you've done a workshop, 5 people there enroll, and you would normally enroll everyone as a wellness advocate and put them underneath each other. And there are times I've done it before where it's the bottom person who puts the 100 PV order in, and then the rest of them are all sitting there. So by enrolling a few of them as wholesale customers and still putting them under that hostess, you then have that option after 90 days for them to upgrade, and you can move them to to another spot in the hostess's tree to help with the power of 3. So, and a really important thing with structure. So I'm Premier and I've got 3 legs, and I've been working with my 3 legs, working towards silver, but I didn't have a solid Premier in my, I didn't have 2 solid executive legs before I started building the 3. So I would get volume for Premier, but it was split over the 3 legs. And now that we've got the empowerment bonus, so if you have a personal enrollment and you hit the rank of Premier, you get a bonus. It's at $195 US. So it's about 230 it was last time. Was it? Yeah, it varies. So from about 195 to 230. So it can be anywhere up to $295 a month bonus. And if you don't hit Premier, you don't get it. So even though I had the volume for Premier, because it was split over 3 legs, I missed out on that bonus. So that's why we're saying when you structure, when you're building people, you're structuring those 2 legs for Premier to get that, because that's to me, Premier is where you're really earning money with doTERRA. Elite pays for your oils and your orders and just a little bit extra to, incentives and things, but Premier is where you're earning money. So by having that structure in place, you can really then help build and get that solid, and then start working on your 3rd leg, your silver leg. But you can still have 3 people on your front line, so you do get that power of 3 bonus. And you can add in volume there. But when you're focusing your structure and building, it is that, you think 2 by 2, having 2 people, and then 2 people on their front line and 2 people on their front line, and then adding in the 3rd when you're building under. Does that make sense?
And one thing I'll just reiterate here, I haven't quite made it clear, that when you are placing people underneath people, they become the sponsor. So for the people who are just starting out with doing enrollments, you're always the enroller of your contacts. You're always the enroller of your contact and you put an enrolment through. But where you place people, they become a sponsor. So there's you, there's your first 3 people that you've placed. So you're the enroller and the sponsor for these 3. And then there's you, this is your enrolment. So you're the enroller of this person, but this person becomes the sponsor because that's where they go under. That's just the difference between enroller and sponsor. The enroller is entitled to the 60 days of the Fast Start Commission, but everybody in your tree, regardless of who's put them there, you will eventually get a little bit of uni level commission from all of them. So it's great to just keep growing your tree because the bulk of the commissions, once you start getting up through the ranks, the bulk of it comes from uni level. It doesn't come from your bonuses. It doesn't come from getting your silver share, your gold share. It comes from your uni level. This is why we're talking today about building for depth rather than, hang on, did I go right? To be building for width rather than depth. Building this way. Building this way. Building outways. So yes, so building outways means you're securing and really solidifying those 7 levels. So in the uni level commission structure, we did this in our last training last month, we're getting paid to 7 levels down for each true level of people in our tree who orders and we get paid on. There is a thing called dynamic compression, which means we can get paid on some more of the levels down below, but really you want to keep your personal enrollments within those first few levels of your tree, because once they go gangbusters and grow and grow and grow, you want to be able to tap into as much uni level as you can and growing your tree wide and down when you need to. When there's connections and you have to place under, then we honour that first. We don't just try and plug holes for Power of 3, but we can utilise that wholesale custom option and pop them in there if we need to. Always try and get the Power of 3 starter to start with. Build those 2 strong legs to start with for Premier. Worry about the silver leg once you've secured Premier and it's solid and they're hitting their 2,000 with ease every month and you're not having to chase your tail. Then you start building on your 3rd leg for silver. Anything else to add?
Yes. So what you can also do is, this is your personal enrolment here is Premier, and they are a sharer, a builder. They've built this structure, not you. You can actually place one of your personal enrolments, so 4 levels deep. So 1, 2, 3, 4
down here.
If has that as your personal enrolment as a backup person. So you can, when this is building further down, so just say this is your Premier and your executive. For them to hit Premier, you would have to hand that enrollership over. But if this was your executive, you could still rank off of this Premier without having to hand the enrollership over.
Yeah.
Does that
make sense? That might go a little bit over the heads today, but yeah. So because you need to hand the enrollership over for these ranks to qualify each other, if you have your own personal enrolment down at level 4 and you hold on to that enrolment at all times because it's not needed to hand over to any of these for this to work, then you've got a backup personal enrolment down there in that tree. They might go gangbusters. They might become your next Premier. So it's about having that backup plan of having your own personal enrolments in each tree. And this one bit me on the bum because one of my builders initially built everything by herself. So I didn't place any of my personal enrolments into her tree. And that's now biting me on the bum because I've got all of these amazing women down in this leg and Stacey's included, but there's none of my personal enrolments down there. So I'm having to look at right up at my top line and just work with the people that I've enrolled right up here because I've got no one down here that I've personally enrolled as my backup for that massive volume that's happening underneath there. So it's definitely worthwhile considering that and placing your own personal enrolments in each of your legs and not resting on the laurels of your builders to do it for you. Lesson learned. Because we're all here to help each other and helping each other helps ourselves in the long run. Absolutely. Anything else? I think we've covered most of it today and hopefully it's been fairly clear. So just take it one step at a time if you're starting out. Building those first few legs. If you're a bit more established, look at your little greenies and reconnect with them, making sure we don't make it too enticing until after 90 days if they're wanting to do that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, I think.
And if you want any help with your tree, just reach out to Laura, reach out to me. Like, it's easy enough to, what I do is I take a screenshot of my tree and then crop it in photos and print it out. So I've got an actual printed out copy of my tree, and then you can look at what structure you've already got. Because if you look ahead, so if you're saying, you know, all right, my goal is to work to diamond, but you don't want to start building your 4 legs now, but you want to structure you to premier legs, to executive legs, so that they're going to be set up the right way, so that they stay solid, so that then you can focus on your next leg with building that. So it's looking ahead. You know, one of the webinars that I've just recently watched, she's talking about, you know, you should plan your structure to blue diamond. Like, when you're looking at, even though you're just focusing on 2 legs, not the 5 that you need for blue diamond, but the structure that you need in there, and building up those 2 or 3 people in your front line to that certain structure. So, but if you want personal help with your tree, just reach out. Like, you can do it on the computer, screen share and have a look. That's easy enough to do. So
absolutely, yep. Just catch up for a little business planning chat, and we'll help you with all of that jazz.
I still chat to Laura about placements. Tracy Booth is gold. Messaged me the other day. Okay, I've got this lady. Whereabouts do we? Yeah, where do we place her? Where do we put her? So
we'll help each other.
Yeah, there's always a conversation. Somebody willing to have a chat and help you make the most of your business. So you know, you don't want to go, oh my God, awesome! I've Premier. I've got 5,000 volume, and we look and go, oh, hang on, that's all in one leg, or it's all across your front line. So.
And everyone's trees are different, so you know, it's different advice for everyone. So just reach out and organise a catch up with your enroller or myself or Stacey, and we'll give you our opinions. And again, it's opinion based. There's different ways of doing it and different ways of growing it, and a lot of information on the different ways of building going around. So we're just trying to give you some advice that can maximise your uni level in the long run, maximise your power of 3, help you get to Premier solidly first before looking at your other legs. And that's the way I grew my business fairly quickly to gold within about a yearish or so. But you know, it's an ongoing challenge to stay at a level and progress through. You know, I've flicked between gold and silver for the past couple of years, and I'm still, you know, the past couple of months has been silver. So don't be discouraged. You know, I've kept going and kept the momentum going. Had a bit of a break here and there with Jasmine, but it's a long-term business. And you know, the moving forward graphic that I put up the other week about, if it takes you 10 years to get to presidential diamond, then what a gift you're giving yourself and your family, residual income for life. If it takes you each year to get through 1 rank, you know, that's amazing. And the massive growth and the explosion that we see with some people getting to diamond and blue diamond and presidential diamond super quickly is not the norm.
It's not normal.
It's not the norm. They are the very small percentage of people, I could probably count on one hand, who have done that. So there's hundreds and thousands, thousands of other advocates out there doing it the normal way, plodding along. You know, Adish and Santoshi were like 6 or 7 years to get to presidential diamond, and you know, there are some founding members in Australia. So you know, don't be discouraged when you see the big people out there on social media nailing the enrollments.
Who already had a following. They
That's
all,
right.
You know, Tara Bliss, Jessie Reimers,
Vanessa,
Rosie, Vanessa, they all had a following to start with.
That's right.
So they already built up those connections. Whereas you know, Kelly this month has built those connections, and then that's paying forward. And so now she'll follow through with that, and hopefully those connections will have connections, and then that will grow like that for her.
Exactly.
So,
and it's just about also just getting everyone loving using their oils, and just doing the sharing that we keep sharing on Facebook and social media of different ways of using your oils, and just really getting that love for daily use happening with oils, and getting into different products and using LLV and using the skincare. And that's what will keep the LRPs coming through and keep the growth, but keep people loving the oils and wanting to know more about the oils, and then talking to their friends about them and being accidental sharers. That's how I started. I was not interested at all. I was an accidental sharer. Before I knew it, I was like nearly premier. And that's when I went, oh, okay, I'll look into this business. So, you know, just by sharing what you love and helping your friends and family, you know, it'll all grow from there.
And when you're looking to, oh, no, brain fart, I have no idea, just went. No, my head went.
Oh,
I had a thing.
You know, it's crazy at the moment. About 5 times in the last month, I've like been mid-sentence and then just
awesome.
gone, yeah, no, gone.
No idea. No idea. Just gone there.
My brain.
Yeah,
brain.
Totally.
Right. So, we might wind up. So
okay, shit. Yeah, Jasmine's had enough. Thank you, everyone for joining in. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll unmute you. So if you've got any questions, you can ask.